Hello, guys. It's me, Butterfly Spirit 314. So, guys, I wanted to talk about something that kind of popped in my head from when I was at work on Friday. So, one of my coworkers that moved to another team, he actually got married yesterday. And um, one of my other coworkers, I think it was on Thursday. He was like, "Oh, so you mean he's signing his life away?" And I was like, "He's signing his life away? What?" And it kind of got me, like, it kind of popped in my head just a minute ago about when people get married, are they really signing away their life for real? Is that really a thing? And really, depending on who you ask, some people may say you are, some people may say you're not. When I think about whether somebody is married or single or they got some other type of situation, I think the most important thing is that it's important for a person to stay true to themselves. Not to get so wrapped up in a relationship that they lose sight of their wants and their needs and their goals and stuff. And I'm guilty of this because that's something I did when I got in a relationship. I found myself really getting so absorbed in the relationship that I really found myself like getting lost in the relationship because I kind of did what a lot of women in my family did, which was to, focus on the relationship, and not thinking about myself and making sacrifices. Okay. And so that's what I found myself really doing. And when I think about it now, I think whether a person is married or single or they got another situation, it's important for a person to, think about their goals, their needs, their wants, and to stay true to that, whether they're married or single or in another situation. Because at the end of the day, it's important to make sure that, that you're happy and you do the things that you need to do to make you happy. Because I think what a lot of people do is a lot of people will put their needs on the back burner for another person because they want this person to see how much they love, they want to prove this other person, I love you so much, so I'm willing to do this or do that. But what about loving yourself? You know, you can't truly show up in a relationship as yourself if you're putting all your energy into something else or somebody else. And like I said, I'm guilty of this. I did this where I completely, drop the ball on things for myself. And it wasn't because of, the boyfriend that I had. It wasn't him. In fact, he was very encouraging to me and wanted me to do things. But it was just the fact that I didn't know that it was okay for me to do things because I did things like women in my family did. I sacrificed and thought that that was what I needed to do. And I found out that this was a thing with sacrificing for women in my family because I was talking to one of my aunties. She lives out of town. And my auntie was telling me that her husband passed away, I believe it was last year. And she told me that there were things that she wanted to do, like she wanted to do gardening, or she wanted to do like she wanted to fix like a window in the front of her house or something like that. And there's like various things that she wanted to do, but she held off on doing it because she was so focused on her relationship with the husband that she had that she just, she completely put that to the side. And one of the things I think happens, and I'm guilty of this, um, you know, when we put our needs aside, what happens is it makes us angry. And we may lash out at somebody else because really we're pissed off at ourselves or mad at ourselves because we didn't do something. that we knew we wanted to do, but we may feel like, oh, okay, is this okay for us to do? You know what I mean? And a lot of times we're mad at ourselves. Now, going back to my auntie, my auntie putting off the things that she wanted to do because of her husband, and stuff like that. It was basically because, she was doing what many of her siblings had done and what generations of women in our family had done for generations, and things, and, not really putting herself first or her needs first, but more so putting the relationship first. But I think it's important to put yourself first and, take care of your needs, because if you take care of your needs and wants and stuff, then you can show up as the best version of yourself. And that's something I'm learning every day myself, is like, it's important to do that. Now, and going back to the coworker who said that the coworker that got married yesterday is signing his life away. I don't entirely think that's the case. I think that a marriage or a relationship is not signing your life away unless you feel that it is. If you feel like, you're in a relationship and it's not for you and it's not working for you, then that, hey, that's probably not working for you, and the longer you stay in it, the more you're just, making it worse for yourself. But I think also some things that people don't realize is sometimes we're hurting ourselves by not doing things for ourselves. Now, as for the coworker, he feels like he's doing the right thing by getting married, and stuff. And the pace at which he does things is determined by him. I don't specifically think it's signing your life away. I think that whether you're married or single, it's so important to think about your needs, and think about your wants. For me, when I was in a relationship, I put aside a need I had, which was to get my hair done in favor of the relationship. Not because my partner said anything like was against it. He was very encouraging towards me to do it, but I was kind of, falling for the fact of like, no, no, I can sacrifice and stuff and everything. Also because of the people in my family and what they think. You know what I mean? If I'm kind of veering away from what other people are doing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think marriage or a relationship is signing away your life. I really don't think that it is. It's not, I think a situation can only be bad if you feel that it is not working for you, but you're staying it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that it doesn't work for you. So regardless of anything, I think it's so important for people to work on themselves and love themselves and learn to put boundaries in their life and stuff like that. This is something I'm working on myself. I'm reading a book about boundaries, by the way, too. About how to set boundaries and stuff like that and stuff. So, I'm learning a lot. And I think in a lot of parts of my life, I'm learning different things too. So it really helps. But yeah, it's not necessarily signing your life away unless you feel that it is, And going by our feelings is important. If something doesn't feel right and we know it, we should listen to our feelings, because listening to ourselves can help us to deal with our emotions and work through things by being more honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So as for that coworker, him saying, is signing his life away, maybe this just says a lot about him, that maybe he doesn't want to get married or whatever. But I think everybody deserves to be loved. I think everybody deserves to have a relationship where they're supported and cared for, in all aspects of their life. I think that is the most important thing. But honoring our needs and wants and stuff is important, as well as nurturing relationships that we have with people in our families too, and there's definitely needs to be a line in the sand with relationships that we have too, because sometimes family can kind of push you in ways to try to get you to do stuff that you may not want to do. It happens to me in my family. I've had things where people have kind of tried to push me to do things and I caved. And so one of the reasons that I'm working on installing boundaries is to make sure that I only do things that I'm comfortable with doing. But I mean, I know it's super duper tough, to do stuff. But yeah, I think a relationship or a marriage or, whatever you make out your relationship, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're happy and healthy and you feel like it's the right place for you to be. you know. Also, and just make sure that you listen to yourself, listen to, listen to your thoughts, listen to your gut instincts too. That is most important. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.